So if there is no question, so if there is no question from yesterday's work, I think we can get into today's business. And today I want us just to learn about Python conditions and if statements. Now that you know how to like to create variables, to initialize variables, even you have some knowledge on some operations that are done on variables. Now I think it's the right time to get into Python conditions and if statements. So that we can see how we can further operations on our variables. Um, I'm going to start with the if statement, and later on we are going to get on loops. So you're going to see how we use if statements in Python, and then we are going to check on loops. We have the for loops and we have the while loops in Python. So to start with, an if statement is written using the keyword if, and these are some of the keywords that I was talking about. Like if is a keyword in Python, therefore it cannot like be used in it cannot be used as a variable name. So we are going to see many others as we go on. So yeah, we create if statements using the keyword if, and I think I have an example over here, and I can just okay, yeah, we have an example over here that checks if some variables, if a is greater than b. So let us just see how we can create just a simple if statement. I think I can open a new cell over here. Just create it here up. Let's just see how we create a simple create if statement. So let's say we have a variable a, and we are going to equate this one to just a random value, which is 12, and we have another variable that is b, and we can give it a random value of 45. So in most cases we use the if statement maybe to just check if a certain condition is true, and if that condition is true, then uh, there is going like to be a series of statements that are going to be executed if at all that statement is true. And if maybe the statement is not true again, we can have an else part that will execute the other part in case a certain statement is not true. So before even we get to else statement, let us just check if let us just create a simple if statement that will check if a is greater than b. So how we create if statement? We start with the if A is greater than, or yeah, I think we can use the greater sign is greater than B, and then you notice that I'm putting a colon. This is the syntax. I think I should start with the syntax over here. Syntax. It should be like this is what we have here. The syntax should be we have it. So see, this is our syntax. This is our syntax. So we have if, then the condition that you want to check. And then we are going to put, after the condition that we want to check, we are going to put a full colon. Then the statements that will execute, if the statements that are going to execute if the condition is true. So this is the syntax for if statements in Python. So, and we can have an example whereby I'm having two variables, that is A, which is equals to 12 in this case, and B is equals to 45, also in this case. So we are going to have if, and then our statement. Our statement is A is greater than B, and then we have the colon. So in simple terms, we are just like checking if A is greater than B, then what should happen if that is the case. So you can choose to, in this case, we are just going to print something. You can just print maybe a statement. Let me just delete the else part. I'm going to check that. If A is greater than B, we can choose to print A is greater than B. This is the message that is going to be printed if this condition is true. So let us just execute this and see if indeed we are going to get the output. Let's give it a minute to see if we are going to get the output. Oops. How is this executed? Let me check this. Let me just copy this over here. Oops, what is not happening? I think you are getting the output down here. And, let me just delete this. Oops, what is not happening here? Let me just check something. You should get a printout over here. Yeah. I think you can have it now. So if you're saying that if A is greater than B, then we should print something. We should print that A is greater than B, but we must give the values for, we must give the values for A. In this case, you are saying that A is equals to 12 and B is equals to 45. So let us see this, if it's going to execute. I don't know what is not happening. We are not getting the printout. Mm, We should get the printout over here, down here. Do you have a suggestion or something? Okay, let me just try out opening another column first, then see what is not happening. Let's just try have these statements down here. Just a minute. Oh, good. I've seen the problem over here. Is A greater than B in this case? Yes. In this case, A is not greater than B, and that is why we are not getting any output, because the statement, the condition is if A is greater than B, that is when we are going to print. We are going to print this, right? So if we were to change maybe this B to B is greater than A, then we should get this statement that B, I change this, B is greater than A. I think that is the reason why we were not getting the printout, because the statement was not true previously. So we have if B is greater than A, then we should get this printout. Um, that is just a simple if statement, but we can add the else statement so that we cannot land into some issues like we had, like maybe if this statement is not true, we are not getting any output, or we are not getting any response from our code. That is why we should have now another the else part of it. We're going to see how we do that right now. but that is basically the syntax for creating an if statement. Any question? I think Lucy has a question. Lucy, what is it?
Okay, I've tried running the way you've said because my A is less than B,
Yes.
so it's also not running. I don't know.
Yes, because initially we had said that if A is equals to 12 and B is equals to 45, and our condition for and the condition to print out A is greater than B is that if A is greater than B, that is the only time we are going to get this printout. But in this case, so the truth value of this statement is false because A is less than because less because A is less than B. That's why we cannot get this. We cannot get this printout. But if we were to change, let's say this one is if we were to change maybe um, B to 4, then you are going to get this output simply because now 12 is greater than 12 is greater than B. If you try to execute this, we are going to get an output. Are we good, Lucy?
Let me try.
I think you can just try it out. Any other question? Any other question?
Mine is giving an error.
Um, okay, can you share what you have so that maybe we can check. Are you in position to share your screen, Amos?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yes, I am.
okay, proceed.
Is it hope it's visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm. Okay, we have so we have the if statement. If A is greater than B, then we have a full colon. Yes, I already can see your issue. You have an issue with the indentation. Okay, so
Which
can you stop sharing so that maybe you can mention something and you're going to rectify your code. And just stop sharing. I mentioned something. Yeah, are you guys able to see my screen? I'm hoping that is visible.
yes, you can see it.
If you were to check from my syntax over here, create an if statement in Python. We have my syntax is if condition, then we have a full colon. Then um, you notice that there is an indentation between the if and where we are writing our statement. And this one is also demonstrated in our example over here. If B is greater than A, and then full colon, and then you notice that there is an indentation from where we have if and the print statement. So this indentation is part of syntax because it is what is inside what is inside this if statement that is going to be executed. So anything outside this if statement uh, is not going to be executed. So that is why we're having an indentation between the if and the print statement. Are we good, Amos? I think that is why you are missing now. You are missing something. You are missing the indentation. You can just try to add an indentation, and you should be able to get an output. Have you tried out?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It has. Yeah, I have corrected it.
Yes, that is part of. You should notice that that is part of syntax for the if statement. Um, any other question about how we create just a simple if statement? I think that is okay. Um, the other part of the if statement is that let's say that you want to proceed checking some other conditions. Um, let's say that if a is greater than b, then we print this. What if now b is greater than a? I think we should have a print statement uh, that 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 tells us that if we get that b is greater than a, it should print that b is greater than a. And also, if a is equals to b, we should have another statement that tells us that. So how we achieve that is now through we have the else if statement, that is the else if. Uh, let us see how we add an else if statement again in our statement here. So we have the else if. It's called the else if. It's just the short form for the else if. And we see that else if keyword is a Python's way of saying that if the previous condition were not true, then try this condition, right? So, and we have an example here. If a is equals to 33, and I think I can just change this one for, we can change that to maybe that 30. So, and b is equals to 30. So our first statement is if b is greater than a, which is true, is b greater than a, that one is that one is false, right? If b is greater than a, we are going to have this statement printed out. But if that is not the case, then we can proceed and try out another condition. That is why we are using else if a is equal to b. And you notice that here we are using two equals. I'm assuming that you guys you took time to go through the previous lecture. And what is the meaning of these two equal sign? Anyone who can tell us what is the meaning of this? From the previous lectures, or anyone who can explain where we
I,
are
I,
getting.
I, I I think I can try.
Okay.
Tukiweka equals moja ita kama assignment operator,
Yes.
so hatuwezi weka hiyo, tunaweka mbili,
Yes. Mbili kwa nini? Why two?
si ndio? Equal
Sorry.
because tukiweka moja ita kama assignment operator, so inamaanisha equal.
Yes.
Tukiweka mbili ndio itasomeka.
Yeah. So what is the meaning of now having two? Because I think I've explained that in the previous lecture.
It means equal.
Equal.
Yeah.
Okay, in this case now, two double equals here is a comparison operator in this case, and I think I've stated that well in our notes. If you guys we can just visit the previous lecture. Was it lecture 2? I think you should be able to see that that one is a comparison operator. These simple things are the ones that are going to help you to write programs. So let us just check the link is just somewhere here. We have Python arithmetic operators. We have assignment operators, as you are saying, that one equal is the assignment operator. And then we have the comparison operators. And we see that comparison operators are used to compare two values. Returns true or false. And that is why we are using the double equal. I think we are good up to that point, right? I think that is that explains why we are using the double equal, the double equal operator here. Excuse me for that. That is the if A is equals to, we are just trying to compare if A is equal to B. Then if the condition is true, then you are going to prove that A and B are equal. We can have multiple else statements. We can also have another else statement. You can have as many as if statement as you want. So we can have the if statement for checking if A is greater than B. Then you have a colon, and then you are going to print that. Let me just copy that. Yes, I think that is it. So we have our program now running from here. I think we can just use a different cell. Let me just copy this one to a different cell. Above here, we add another cell here, and we say use of the if statement. So now let us just check this. So we are saying that A is equals to 33 and B is equals to 30. So now we start checking the conditions. What is going to be printed out here in case if we run this program? Anyone who is willing to tell us what is going to be executed in what is going to be the output of this program? I think you can have someone to tell us what is going to be the output. Any volunteer? I think the purpose is to have an interactive class. So yes, we have Lucy. What is going to be
Okay,
yes,
before you print, I have a question.
yes.
The second else is saying if A is greater than B, then B is greater than A.
Mhm.
Like, is the problem when the two statements from when the two statements are similar, the first one and the last one.
Okay. I think this one should be A is greater than B. Thank you. Then give us the output now.
Okay, the output will be A is greater than B.
Is greater than B. Yes, I think we can execute that and see that we have A is greater than B as our output. What if we change now this one to maybe 33? What is going to be the output? Any other person? I think you can have Amos.
The output will be B is greater.
B is?
No, B is equal to A.
Yes, that should be our. Yes, we have A and B are equal, right? So meaning that this is the statement that is going to be executed. With just this if and elif statement, you can build a digital calculator. But before even we get into maybe a digital calculator, let us just have an else statement that will execute if all these statements are not, if all these statements, neither of all these statements are true. So we always have the else case. We can have the else case. In the else case, you just have to write the else and the print statement that you want maybe to be your output. And we can say that these let us have these. We can talk of maybe we experienced error in what, in maybe comparing A and B. So if maybe we happen to equate this one to maybe a string, let us just have maybe this one to be a string. Let us just have a hello over here. So in this case, what is going to happen if we try maybe and execute this? Can you compare a string and a numeric? I don't think you can compare them, and therefore we should now, you notice that neither of these statements, the if and the elif statements, that is true. So meaning that the statement that should be executed is the else part now. That we are experiencing an error in I don't know why it is taking much time to run. You can just try to rerun this. It doesn't have to be necessarily to be a string, but you can have maybe for whatever reasons, maybe we experience some errors in maybe executing these either of these statements, because I can see that you cannot compare, you cannot like compare a string and You cannot compare a string and a numeric. So this one is going to give us an error, because in here we're just trying to check if A is greater than B. But there are some cases whereby you are going to need an else case, an else part. Maybe you are going to show that when maybe we get into some complex maybe programs, but it is not mandatory to include these. So you can leave it out if at all you don't need it in your program. But this is how you use the if statement and the L if statements, and even the else statement. So I think that is that. Think do we have any question up to that point? I think you're going to have an example whereby after learning some other concepts, you are going to join all these concepts to create a digital calculator. Then you can see how you can maybe create your own digital calculator using all these concepts. So if there is no question about the if statement, then I think you can move forward to something interesting, that is the Python loops. Let us see how Python loops are used in Python programs. And we see that Python has two primitive loop commands, that is the while loops and for loops. There is the difference between the while and for loop. You're going to see that, and we're going to start with a while loop. A while loop in Python, I think you can use it to execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. You should underline that with the while loop, we can execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. Let me just give an example. An example of where this while loop is used. What happens when you press on your phones? That is star 5. Is it 5? Okay, when you want to purchase some data bundles, you press star 5. Is it 544? And then hash. So you notice that you are going to interact with that interface until maybe you either you end the process willingly, or maybe you just cancel the process. You notice that you're going to interact with that interface. So meaning that there are some statements that are being executed as long as a certain condition is true. Like when you press star 544, you get options for buying data bundles. And then maybe when you choose a valid option, you're going like to continue. So meaning that there is those series of statements that are being executed. If you happen maybe to enter an invalid input, you notice that the process will terminate, right? So those are some of the use cases of this while loop. They are going to sorry. they are going to execute, it's going to execute a set of statement as long as the condition is true. I think we can have an example of that, and see how you use just a simple while loop. And we are going to have a while loop to count 1 up to 6, or let us just have a while loop to count 1 to 10. I think we can have that example over here. Let's have an example here. Use of while loop. So let us have our, maybe we can have a variable I that is equals to maybe 1, or maybe we can have it as 0. And we say that, well, I think we already have these. You can have well I now is less than 10. We are going to keep printing I. We are going to keep printing I. And then we have the I plus, again, plus is equals 1. What did we say this one is equivalent to from the previous lectures? That I plus is equals 1. I think we had it somewhere here. These are the assignment operators. So, and plus is equals, x plus is equals 3 is same as x is equals to x plus 3. I think you should take your time to go through these assignment operators so that you don't get confused when we get to using them. So in here we have, we are saying that we are telling our program that when I is less than 10, we want to keep adding I plus 1. And that is going to execute as long as I is less than 10. Let us just try to execute this and see the output. And you notice that we are getting 0 to 9, simply because it prints 0, because let me just explain how this is going to execute. So having I is equals to 0, our program is just going to check if 0 is less than 10, and that is going to give us a true output, and therefore it's just going to print the 0. So the next thing, the next part, we are going now to move now to I plus 1. So meaning that our I now will be, our I here will be, we are going now to have, I as 1, and then you are going to get to check against 10. We check, we check if now if 1 is less than 10, then you are going to print that one again. So then we move to now I plus I mean that is our current I is 1. So it's going to be I, which is 1, plus is equals 1, which is 2. Then we check 2 against 10 is 2 less than 10. So it's going to keep repeating that until we get to a point where we are going to have 9. Because now when we take 9 plus 1 here, we are going to have 10, and 10 is not less than 10. So it will it will break at this point. That is how this while loop executes. You can maybe change this one to maybe something like maybe even 20. Maybe you can have 15, and you notice that you are going to have that is 0 up to 14. Basically, that is how while loop works. So, any question? Any question from that? Do we have any question? I think silence means that question from yes, Moihaki.
I've joined right now, but okay, I didn't get the reason why you have written I plus or equal to 1.
Oh, this part.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just be clear on that. So our purpose with this while loop, in this case, we want to print. Okay, let me just return this one as 10. We want to write 1. We want to write 0 to 9. That is our goal here. And I want to do that using the while loop, right? So we are just going to initialize our I to 0. So this one will mark our starting point, because we want to start printing from 0, that is to 9. So this is going to be our starting point. And we want to use while. So we are going to have while I is less than 10. We want to print that I. We want to print that I. But we don't want to add at this point, simply because we want to print up to 9. That is why we are having now I. Because if we were, let's say, let me show you. If you were to omit that part and just print, have these print I. This while loop is usually very dangerous, because it is just going to print out zeros up to infinity, and you can see that it's going to print zeros up to infinity, and you can see that it keep printing, right? So we have to control our while loop. I think you can see it has just printed so many zeros. It can print that up to infinity. That is why we want just to control we want to control our while loop by telling it that each and every time it runs, it should add 1 to the current value of I. That is why we are having it. That is why we are having it here, so that it can add 1 each and every time it executes the loop. I don't know if that is clear, Essie.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it should be clear. So you should not try this when using your. You should not try this like printing the. I mean, you should be careful when using while loop. You can land into some issues, so you should be very careful. I think that is that with the while loop. So if you want to maybe print up to 20, you can maybe change that one to 20. If you're going to see if you want to print up to maybe 19, you're going to put 20 here. You're going to put 20 here if you want to print up to 19. Let us see how while loop is different from, you said we have two loops, that is the for loop and the while loop. So for while loop, we use it when we are we are going to see the difference shortly. Let us first of all see the use of for loop. Maybe something that I might have left out is that you can have a break. You can have a break statement when using the while statement. We are saying that with the break statement, we can stop the loop even if the while condition is true, like in the case that we had here. Let me just show you that. Or we are saying that if we omit these, we are going to print address zeros. So we can instead of maybe having this one, we can have a break just right after this. You can have a break just after this. So you notice now if I run just this, I'm just going to get a 0, right? Yeah, you can also make use of break. I think that is that. I can just undo this. Let us see how we use for loop. Python for loops. And we are saying that a for loop is used for iterating over a sequence. I think there is somewhere we used a for loop during the previous lecture. And we are saying that for loop is for iterating over a sequence. That is either a list, a tuple, a dictionary, a set, or maybe a string. I think we used a for loop with a string. So we are saying that this is less like the for. This is less like the for loop keyword in other programming languages. I'm assuming that if you have had programmed with other languages, the for loop shouldn't be the for keyword. I think should be familiar with you. Shouldn't be something new. So we are saying that this one is more of the same, like the for loop we have in other programming languages. I think we have C, and I think there is someone who said that we use JavaScript. We have also have for loop in other programming languages, and works more likely as an iterator. So anything that is iterating through a sequence, we can call it an iterator. So you have an iterator method found in other object-oriented languages. So I think for us who have done maybe programming with other languages, this is something that is not new. So I think you can just see how we use this for loop. With maybe you can have a list. You can see how we iterate through a list items, I mean. And we have a good example here. In fact, a very simple example. That is a fruits list. I think yesterday we saw how we create a list. So we have a fruits is equals to a fruits list that has several fruits. That is, in this case, we have 3. You can add more if you want. But in this case, we have apple, banana, and some cherry. So in case you want to, loop through these items, we can make use of for loop. And we have the 4 for x in fruits, and then you want to print x. So I think as we did with the other, let us just have the syntax for that. Syntax, I think it's always good to have the syntax for loop. So you always have for good. I think that is for a variable in the sequence, and then the statement that you want to statements that you want to execute. You notice that this is the syntax. That is for variable. You can just have any variable name as long as it resonates with you. That is for variable in the sequence. This is going to be the name of your sequence, and then what you want to do after looping them. You can choose to maybe print out. You can choose maybe to carry out other operations. In this case, we just want to print the items in our list. So you're just going to have for x, and in this case, x is our variable. In fruits is our list here. And then you are going to print all the items in our fruit. That is why we have in x here. Because what normally happens is, after looping through, all these items are going to be stored in this x, and that is why we are printing now the x and all the fruits. I think we can test that. We just copy that and have a new cell here to test that. We can have for loop for loop. If you are to run this, you notice that you are going to have all the items in our fruits. So you can always use the variable of your choice. I can even choose to call this fruit. And you notice that I've used fruit, not fruits, because if you happen to use fruits, it's going to conflict with the list name. So I'm just using for fruit. In fruits, I want to print that fruit. So if I happen to run this, I'm going to get the same output. Any question? Any question up to that point? A thumbs up if we are together. Another, are you getting it? Or maybe you are lost? Another is okay. What about Benjamin? Benjamin, are we good? Benjamin, if you can hear me. And also Mariwa. Mariwa, are we good with the for loops? Yes, I think they're good. So yeah, I think that is it with the loops. That is the for loop and the while loop. You can choose to loop through, maybe you can loop through strings. I think you can loop through the letters in a word. Like we have an example over here. We're just trying to loop through uh, the letters in a banana word. Mm, what else should we maybe do? Before even we get to other part of our discussion, let us just try to see how these how we can use maybe a for loop and if statement in the same program. And in this case, I want us just to see how we exit the loop when x maybe is equal to banana. So we have our fruits list, which is apple, banana, and cherry. So we don't want to print all the items in this list, but we want to now give this for loop a condition that if if the x will be banana, we want us just to break and stop printing the rest of the items in our list. I think this one is quite interesting. Let us just see that very fast. Let us have another example here using a condition in a for loop. We are going to have I think we can have maybe numbers. Numbers is equals. Let us have just a list of numbers. We can have 12. We can have 34. We can have 56. We can have 7. No, 67. We can have 8. We can have 9. We can have maybe even 0. And you notice that I'm separating these numbers using a comma. I want us to do something here. I want us to print all the numbers that are even in this list. We go through these numbers and check if that number is an even number, we print it out. And if it's not an even if it is not an even number, then we just leave it out. And how we do that, we are just going to have a for loop that will go through all these numbers, and it will keep checking if each number is even number. So when do we say an even number is when do we say a number is even? Just from your basic maths, can I have someone telling us when do we say a number is even? Can we have
If it's divisible by 2.
if it is divisible by 2, right? So let us just have a for loop. Thank you, Lewis. We can have for number in let's say numbers. That is a for loop to loop through all the numbers. And I think we can have a mix up for, we can have some few odd numbers here. Let's have 3, and we can add maybe 23. So we are saying, and then we add now the condition. If number modulus 2. What did we say modulus is? I think this one is now it's repeating itself. A number modulus 2 is equals to 0. Then we are saying that number is even. So I think from basic maths, you know how we check for even numbers. So if we happen to divide a number by 2 and we don't have a remainder, then that number is an even number, and that is why we are using the modulus. If you were to check our operators, our signs here, let's just see the modulus. We have a modulus here. This one is going to return. This one is going. The modulus returns the remainder after division, and that is why we are saying that if number modulus 2 is equals to, and again you notice that I'm using a comparison operator. So it is the value that I'm going to get here, I'm comparing with 0. If this is true, then I should print that number. I can have even maybe a string just to say that these are the even numbers in my list. I think you can have that. And then you notice that I have a comma from I have a comma between my string. This is what is going to be printed. I think I can add a colon here. This is going to be printed, and then the numbers that are even. So if I happen just to execute these, you notice that I'm getting these are the even numbers. I think we should execute these outside the for loop, so that you cannot keep having these. Okay, let me see this. No, it should be inside the if statement. Just add some indentation. I think you can change this one to is. Then we have this is is an even number in my list. That one makes sense, so that we can have this is an even number in my list, that is 12. We have 56, we have also 56, and also we have 8. You notice that now this for loop, it just go through all these numbers, identify all the even numbers, and even printing our statement here. So it just keep checking. So if you were to print the odd numbers, okay, how can we print the odd numbers? Have we learned how to print out all the even numbers? How can we print the odd numbers? That is Lewis.
My thinking. So where you are comparing the modulus to is equals 0,
Yeah.
you can now use the not equal to operator.
Or not, yeah, good. I think you can use that, or maybe you can even use greater than 0. You can either use greater than 0, or you can use not equal to, not equal to, not equal to, not equal to, not equal to 0. So, but again, I think we said that we can have multiple, we can have else statement. So let us just print, we have this, if the numbers is greater than, if the number, check if the number is even, we can have this. And also you can have, an else if here. Else if, a question? There is a question from Mariwa. Mariwa, what is the concern?
My concern is I'm getting errors.
From what you have. Okay.
For loop, from the for loop mpaka sahi on condition in a for loop.
From this, in this example.
Yes.
So can you share your screen so that your colleagues can help you? Are you in position to share your screen?
Yes.
I think you can share the screen.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Let me check. Yes.
No.
I think you can.
I started from here.
Okay,
Use of for loops.
Yes, we can see. You can see. Okay.
So I don't know where I'm getting the error.
Also, you have your list. Yes, I think you have a problem with indentation. I think you are able to read this error. That is the indentation error, right?
Yes.
And even it is telling you where the compiler is expecting an indentation. That is expected an indentation block after 4. So you should add an indentation just below the for loop.
Before the for loop?
No, after. Sorry, after the for loop.
So I add an equal sign here.
That one is okay. Do you see where you have for loop? So below the for loop,
I have fruits.
it should be below for loop. You should have an indentation where you have
Meaning
print, where you have print.
Yes.
You should add an indentation.
Meaning
You're not getting okay. Um, you should an indentation is just a space between
Oh,
the no that one, not at that
yeah.
point, but can you place your cursor where you have print at the start? Yeah, you should add a
Oh,
space.
like
Another,
that.
yes, that is the indentation.
Okay.
Can you run now?
Hey, I've really struggled on this. How about this one?
And then other person who is also learning into some issues. So again here, you notice that these errors are very clear. So you have invalid syntax. Perhaps you forgot a comma.
Yeah.
Let us see, maybe you forgot a comma. Is that the case? So you have your numbers
Yes.
that you have 12, 3, 56, 46, 8, 10, 23. So for numbers in numbers, I mean, if number modulus 2 is equals to this, then you have, yes, you are missing a comma between this statement. This is an even number and the number you are trying to print. Is it from my end or from her end? Is it from my end?
pia kwa number in your print statement, like unaweza hii yenye iko print, this is my even, this list of even numbers, pia umeweka number in quotation, then numbers, the list of your numbers haziko nini, but naona umetumia nini, umetumia inaita au
But
umesahau.
I don't think unafaa quote numbers unaweza ziandika, unaweza zilist without quoting.
Yes.
Like ukicreate your list si lazima uziput into hizo quotations.
Yeah.
I think issue iko hapa kwa the printout statement hapo mali umeweka comma utoe hizo quotations zina surround hiyo number.
Yeah. Hata yake niliona haikuwa na hizo. So I print.
You're still going to get an error. Yes, there is an indent from, I think you are being helped by Benjamin Owino.
From my if.
Yes. So you have, if again, you should add an, no. The print should have an indentation. Good. Add an indentation there. Good. You should try to print out.
Hey. Okay. So thank you.
Yes,
Thank you guys. Thank you.
I think you have good teachers. That is.
I can see. Hapa kumbe hii Ngumbaru lazima niko na watu wengi wataniokolea.
Lucy, do you have a question? I can see you had.
Yeah, hii ni Ngumbaru. Hii ni masomo ya Ngumbaru. Sawa, thank you.
Okay. I think you should receive. I can see you have good teachers over here. Yeah, we were saying that we can add an L. Are you able to see my screen? Someone should confirm that you guys are able to see my screen. Yeah, I think we can proceed. So we were saying that now. What were we saying? We were saying that we can also print we can also maybe print. You can also print odd numbers. So let's say that we were just trying to check if the numbers, let's say you were checking the if numbers, and we notice that let me just edit this so that we can have 0 even numbers. We can also add 1. So I think all those are odd numbers. So let's say that if we try to run this, you notice that you are not getting any output, right? So for us to get an output, we can now add the else part, so that if we don't get an even number, we have at least an output that will tell us that we can have a statement that can tell us that there is no even number in our list. So you notice now, if I run this, we are going to have that there is no even number each and every time that you execute this. You notice that we are getting all these there is no even number in our list, because we are just trying to do the printout inside the for loop. And you notice that you are going to get the number, we are going to get 4 outputs, because these for loop have executed for 4 times. Simply like just trying to get the even numbers. It will just come to 1, it checks, comes to 2, to 3, it checks 9, 23. So it's checking that it has just checked, it has executed like four times. That is why we are getting all these output. But when we get to when you get like to maybe to more advanced levels, you will notice that this one is a bug. We call it a bug or error, because we shouldn't be getting all these. We should find a way of just having one one printout, because I think one is enough. It doesn't make sense like to have four error messages. So, but we are going to see how we can solve that. We are going to see how we can solve this. This one is a bug, and we are going to see how we can solve that. So, any question with how you use the for loop, the if statement, and also else statement. Any question? You should begin with the indentation. You notice that we have an indentation between the for loop and if loop, and if statement. And you notice after having the if statement, now we have another indentation between the if statement and the print statement. Also for the else part. I think it's worth to note that. Any question? Do you have any question? Well, maybe someone who needs clarification, just feel free to ask anything before we proceed to the other part. I think if there is no any question, then we are going to proceed to the other part of our discussion, which is how to create functions. I think all along we have been dealing with inbuilt functions. Now it's time to see how we create functions, and even we get to know what are functions, how they work, right? So, and a function is a block of code which only runs when it is called or maybe invoked. So I know most of us are like beginning to wonder, are we calling something here, or what is not going on? So you're going to see how we call functions, or maybe in other words, how we invoke a function. We see that you can pass data known as parameters into functions. You're going to see that. And a function can return data as a result. I think you're going to see all these. These are all the characteristics of functions. That one, it runs when it is called or invoked. Another characteristic is that you can pass data, which are known as parameters. And a function can return data as a result. So let us just begin by learning how we create a function, just a simple function in Python. To create a function in Python, we use a keyword def. We use the keyword def. This one is a short form for definition. Definition. But this is the right syntax. That is the def. So let us see how you can create just a simple function, maybe to print a hello world. So like this one, example, print hello from a function. So I think you can have a function. Let me just have it here. You can have another cell here. It is going to how to create a function in Python. We are going to start with the syntax. And I think I already have it here. This is the syntax. So we normally have the keyword def, and then function name, and then we are going to pass parameters if we have any. It is not mandatory to have parameters, but in case if you must have, you can include them. That is depending on what you want to do with that function. So after that we have again a full colon. Then you notice that we have an indentation. I think Mariwa, is it Mariwa? Mariwa, now you know what is an indentation, right? So
Yes.
again, you notice that here we have, after this colon, we must have an indentation so that we can have the code to be executed. Code to be executed, it should be here, or what we are calling statements, right? So let us just have a simple function. And this function we want creating a function to say hello world. I think you can have. You notice that this editor is intelligent, because anytime I just write a statement, it just create the code for me. Yeah, I don't know if you guys you can see that. I just have to press the tab, then it will just write the code for me. I think nowadays artificial intelligence is just helping us in so many things. So we have the function here, which we are calling it def, say hello. This is the function name, say hello. And then inside this, we have the print hello world. And then if I can just comment out that and try to execute, you notice that I'm getting no output. I'm getting no output and I'm getting no error, meaning that this function is okay, but we are not getting any output. So there is something that we said that a function must be called, right, or invoked. And how do we do that? That is why we have the say hello below here. This is how we just call a function. You notice that the say hello function, it is in line with you notice that there is no indentation here between the def and the say hello. This is how we invoke. I think I should write that invoking a function. You just have to write the name of the function, and you include the parentheses. So you notice now if I run this, I'm going to get an output simply because we have invoked or we have called our function. Like it's just like a container that is just holding some statements that needs to be executed only when needed, right? So that is how we call a function, and that is how we define a function in Python. This is just a simple function. Yes, I think you can have another example here. And I just have example to a function to add numbers, a function to add numbers, and I need to have a function to, if it's a function to add numbers, I think I can just call it a sum, the sum. Then I have the parentheses, and then in here I'm going to have a maybe is equals to 90. Then I can have b as 34, as this thing is as this AI is suggesting, and then I can have sum is equals to a plus b, and then I just print sum. If I run this, you notice I'm not going to get any output. But if I now invoke let me just write something here, invoking function sum, right? So if I happen to run that, then I'm getting the answer to my function, or the output of my function. That is the sum of 90 plus 34, which is 124. So there is something that this is a function without parameters. So what if we want to add any random numbers? Now how do we do that? Do we have to keep like writing this code? Like let's say if I wanted to do an addition of maybe now 190 and 134. Should I like write another function to do the sum? So to solve that, we can just delete this and just have to introduce our parameters here. That is A and B. So you notice that now I have my A and B as parameters. These are what we are calling parameters. I think I can say that function with parameters. That is A and B. You notice that we said that you can write your comments. You can just write your comments in line with the line of code. You just have to use the hash. So meaning that this one is not going to be executed. I think that was from yesterday's lecture. So after now having sum A and B, and I want to print the sum, you notice if I run this, I'm going to get an error. And the error I'm getting here, it's always good to read these errors. We have this type error that this is sum function is missing two required positional arguments. That is a B. Simply because now I am invoking my function without some numbers to add, and those numbers they should be two, as I have indicated that I just have two parameters. So in case I add maybe 100, 56 and run this, you notice that now I'm getting the output. I can call now this sum as many times as I want with now different numbers. That is 102, maybe 456. We can have even another one here. And if I run this, you notice that I'm going to get all the output without writing this code again. I'm just invoking a function with different arguments. So these are what we call arguments. They're the values that we are passing when calling our function or when invoking our function. So you can have as many calls as you want, provided you add the arguments. Is that difficult to comprehend? I'm assuming that one is clear to everyone. You can have functions even to do many things. Yeah, you can even have a function to do division. You can have function to do subtraction. You can have function to do multiplication, right? Maybe to do some exponent. Doing some arithmetic. I mean, you can do several arithmetics in a function, and give the output. So I think that is exactly that, unless there is a question from any of honorable members. Yeah, I think I began the class by calling you honorable members. So any question from you guys? Yeah, the floor is open for any question. Yes, any question? Do we have any question?
For hello,
Yes.
hello. For this week, are we going to have a takeaway card?
Yes, you're going to have a takeaway cut. There must be an assignment.
Is it possible maybe you share it before today ends, please?
Yes, I can. It's ready. It's ready for you.
Okay, thank you. You can share it.
Yes, I'll share.
Okay.
I'll share it after class. So any other question? And the cut or the assignment will cover all the 4 lectures. So any other question? I think this one is quite simple. How to have functions. I'm hoping that I'm not leaving out anything. Maybe you can read through this. I think there are some statements that you can go through now that you have this lecture. I think now up to where we are, I think you should be able to come up with maybe a digital calculator. If you just try, if you sit down and maybe just try to draft or just try to think how that calculator works. You just like you just like try to design that calculator now using Python, because it is very possible. You guys, I think now you have basics, because those were the basics for Python. Learning how to use to use function, to use loops, to use conditional statements, how to initialize a variable. Because from next week we are going now to learn libraries for Python. I think the first week we were just covering the basics for Python, so that now we can get into maybe we can further our discussion to learn the libraries that are going to be used in data analysis. I think having said that, if you guys you don't have any question, then apart from the assignment that I'm going to give you, you just go and sit down over the weekend and just try to come up with just a simple calculator that can do several arithmetics. That is addition, that is subtraction, division, and even exponential. That is power of maybe a certain number. I'm sure you can draft that with the information with the skills that now you guys have. Oh, if there is no any other question, I think we can just drop off, because I can see it's already time. Yeah, any question? I'll be posting the cut in the Google Classroom. So any question before I drop off?